Because I think we're live. Because I'm using a new software, and I've actually been testing a few of them. And I'm using this one, which is called StreamYard.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it to live stream for the first time. So it's possible that I don't know it's very possible I don't know what I'm doing. But regardless, we are live. What's up, anyone watching? There's probably going to be a few, but the most important thing is we record it and then we turn it into value. Today I'm talking to Luis Flores Bono. Bono or Bono? Bono? Bono.
Bono. It's Botus. Bono. So it's Italian.
Yeah, don't do that. You're a good buddy of mine, and I was thinking about it the other day. You're the person I probably worked with the longest in solar, because I've worked with you pretty much consistently for 2 years or almost 2 years now. And that is one of the words I would probably use to describe you. And it's like a huge compliment is you're probably the most consistent person that I've seen. And I've seen a lot of people in this industry, consistent in not only results, but attitude and work, and then also developing yourself. So for anyone watching that doesn't know about Luis, give them a little bit of an intro about you and all the stuff that makes you, what your journey's been like, how you came to solar, and what you've learned and what you're excited for.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Well, thank you for being live with me, listening to our show today. I'm going to talk about a little bit more about the secrets behind solar and why you should be joining this awesome career. But my background, as you know, guys, I wanted to be an actor, but I failed. I mean, I couldn't be an actor. But anyways, I'm a sales professional, entrepreneur. I've been in the industry of selling since I was, I guess, 2000. I was about 8 years of age when I started selling toys and trading them for like money, and just my friends and I, we used to go sell them at the pulga or swap meet, however you want to call it, to make some profit. And that's how I learned how to negotiate, persuade, as I was a little kid, and I couldn't afford school, so it's a lot of my mom. I had to help my mom to pay the bills, so it was tough. So, but it teach me a lot about hustling, about consistency, persistency, persuasion, and now polish those skills to really enhance your income and take you to levels that you haven't been, especially in situations with the economy. I mean, a lot of people thought 2020 was the worst of the worst as far as economy, and for a lot of people that were thriving. I have to say that execution on 2020 and finding the right vehicle for 2020 made me explode my income, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, especially on solar. But yeah, that's pretty much my background. Being in sales, my first language is Spanish, so if you notice a little bit of an accent where I cannot pronounce the word correctly, it's because the Spanish in me it's out there better than my English. So apologize. Forgive me for my passion. You're kind of muted, Kyle.
There we go. My bad. So, I actually didn't know, because I know you quite well, but I never knew you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's actually kind of interesting. But you do have the energy about it. And as you mentioned, your specialty is Spanish and speaking, and you do have an English accent, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having an accent. I think one of the cool things about solar is that it is an industry and a profession where we have seen people, if you come to work and to hustle and to improve and get better, you're able to find success. And that's kind of the whole appeal of sales background is you don't necessarily have to go to a four-year university. You don't have to go to a trade school. If you just kind of hone that craft on your own time, you're able to make the type of income that a lot of people dream about. And obviously you're well onto your way. And I know I think I saw one of your goals for the next year is scaling your business and obviously your team's business to $1 million in commission. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the goal is I write it down every morning, every night, guys. It's so important for whoever who is listening to this podcast. If you can take one thing away, write down your goals every day where it comes down to the T, and it goes and headed to your subconscious where you're like, oh my goodness, even in automated, you're already thinking about your goals. So one of my goals, yes, Kyle, is to help 12 solarpreneurs scale their business into 6 figures plus, where not only them are winning, but obviously I'm winning too with them. So that will in return will be $1 million on gross income for 2022. Absolutely 100%. Yes, sir.
All right. So I was with you until the word solarpreneur got thrown out there. I told you this the other day. I just don't know. I don't think I like that word. I know it's a Facebook group and everything. So maybe I'll have to do a poll later about that solarpreneur title. I don't know. Because what's weird is I love the word entrepreneur. I love all that kind of stuff. But solarpreneur just sounds, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
It's a combination. I mean, with entrepreneur, you're coming along because this type of career and
I guess my point is there roofpreneurs? Is there HVACpreneurs?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how I feel about that word. That's all I was saying,
Okay.
I love words and English and all that kind of stuff. And there's just some words that rub me the wrong way. And that's definitely one of them. What do you think if you could go back and speak to you, like on your first day of solar sales, like you right now could go back in time and do what you could slap yourself, you could give yourself the one piece of advice. Yeah. Like you have 15 seconds to tell yourself from the past what advice that he needs to hear. What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Luis, if you're listening from the past, stay consistent. Don't give up. It's going to get tough at the beginning because the projects obviously are not really quick. You're going to suffer. You're going to have to work three jobs. You will have to quit your main source of income because being comfortable is not going to take you anywhere. But just know that you're going to be okay. And you're going to learn a lot of skills that you thought you didn't have that now you're going to get polished. And you're going to scale. And just make sure that you stay consistent because when motivation wears out, discipline is what is going to take you to accomplish what you want.
100%. And I think the reason you've been successful is because obviously you know and have learned that. I like the word that you use, discipline. I think for anyone out there, there's a book and a lot of the stuff that's been going on with myself as well as other people and other companies and the way this industry is. I think one of the things that we could all benefit from is if we listen to a guy by the name of Jocko Willink, and he has this book that's called Extreme Ownership. And really taking ownership of everything that we do, everything that we're responsible for. If you have a deal that gets to install or doesn't, every single person should feel ownership over the results of that. And I think that's something that I've had that in the back of my mind, but one of those things is when things don't go your way, it's so easy to just blame it other people and just talk about, obviously, if they let you down, but at the same time, you put yourself in a position where you could let yourself down because you didn't do whatever was needed to avoid that. And discipline is obviously huge, because that's the other thing too that we always talk about. I always talk about that on this podcast is solar is such a great industry. There's people that get by with no discipline. There's people that get by with no organization. There's people that get by with just like, hey, we got a logo and we're doing it. We just go and knock doors, and we don't really have the systems in place. But I've said that before, and I don't want to get into that too much. But your experience, because you were working multiple jobs when you got started in solar, what were your other jobs that you were working?
Well, and then just to give you a little more about background and where we're gonna basically go into teams and organizations and all that stuff. Basically, it's gonna be into leadership. So before I entered the solar industry, I was in the fitness industry, and basically everything had to be done with building teams, hiring, recruiting. Parting ways with people that were not wanted to perform and unable to accomplish goals. You will have to come in together with the team in order to reach the targets that they were established. So that type of vehicle, I mean, I always compare this as an analogy, Kyle, and whoever's listening, to a vehicle, because there's vehicles to vehicles. You want to go to great speeds, you're not going to buy a freaking Corolla Toyota to get the speed of a Bugatti. If you want the Bugatti speeds, you need to go get a Bugatti vehicle. So that's what solar is doing in the industry, in the hands of a person who is a great leader, who's a great he has people skills, great sales professional. If you're the driver and you're like tired of being in a bad vehicle and you're like in a Toyota Corolla, don't expect the Toyota Corolla to give you the speeds of a Bugatti. You will have to switch cars. So that's what I did with solar. At the beginning, I didn't know about how to work with the industry. So I had to basically give up something that I was very comfortable doing already, which is the fitness industry, to basically let go of that, which is giving me just certain security of as far as income and stability, a 9 to 5 salary plus commission and great bonuses, but for something way better, a different vehicle, a different machine. And obviously, in order to do that, I had to let go of that, do a couple of jobs that were not even close to what I was made for. I mean, I love sales, and having to Uber or having to do DoorDash to deliver food, or having to do basically just be a customer service person or a host at a fitness gym. It was not my intentions, but I had to sacrifice letting go of that career, get a couple of part-time jobs in order to sustain paying the bills while I was getting into the industry of solar. And then once it started booming, I just basically let go and just started pressing the accelerator and just took those speeds like never thought I was going to imagine taking those speeds.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what did you do in fitness? What were you selling, memberships or personal training?
Personal training. So I did personal
cool.
training. That I mean, for that career, I did it for like about 7 years.
Dude, how did I knew you were in fitness, and I never thought to ask more. Because my background's in fitness. I was a fitness manager at all those places. What gym did you work for?
Well, multiple. Can I say it live? Well, I guess.
Sure, I don't care.
Okay, so yeah, I worked for.
If this podcast ever gets big enough where a corporate gym is threatening us, then we'll be okay.
Yeah, it was the Freedom Fitnesses. It was the Fitness Connections, the True Fits.
You haven't said anything bad, so I mean, it's not like there's no reason. Yeah. So the funny thing is, I mean, selling personal training is hard. It's tough, like, because it's tough in the way that you have to filter through if the person is qualified or not before going into your presentation.
Yeah.
Meaning there's a lot more homeowner. Well, I mean, if we're really targeting like homeowners, there's a lot more people that are homeowners and could use solar than there are people that can afford personal training. And so personal training is kind of like a luxury. It's a nice to have, and solar is a nice to have, but at the same time, it's a nice to have that rather than costing them money, it can save them or pay them money. And so that's what I always I tell people is when I came to solar, I couldn't believe it. It was nuts. Like I was like, I used to sell like personal training, just to give an example. I'm trying to think of like one of the last gyms I was at. I was like, oh yeah, you can do 20 sessions. It'll cost $1,400. You sell this to these people, you get your commission, but then you still have to go and personal train them for 20 hours. And it's not scalable because it's still tied to your time. And so kind of what you got into about sales and solar is about divorcing ourselves from the time constraint. That's the only way that we're going to be able to increase our wealth to those crazy numbers that we all kind of hope for. And so whatever that is, whether it's taking your knowledge and putting it into a course or doing it in a way that you can impact more people on a smaller scale, but because of that, you're able to make more money. Like there's a lot that goes into that. But then when you come to solar, it's like, oh, wow, you can make that much money in this, like just the sale. Like even if I was a personal trainer and I didn't even have to train the sessions, you could still make a lot more money in the solar industry than you could there. And there's a lot of other industries that are like that. So I already mentioned a book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Highly recommend. I know one of the things that impressed me most about you is you invest and you're always learning. You're probably one of the few people that I'd be worried might even spend more time learning than myself, because you're always out there and taking these courses and learn. Like last week you were doing an NLP course. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So tell me about that, but I also want to know why you chose to do it and how you think it's going to, what impact it's going to have on your solar career.
Yeah, absolutely. So I choose NLP, and NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. The mindset. Actually, a book that I'm going to recommend for you guys that are listening to read, that was recommended by another entrepreneur, another person who is in this. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Now, this book, guys, is pretty much for the person or neuro linguistic programming. It's totally adequate for like learning about programming your mind, programming your brain to think positive, to stay positive, even difficult times situation, to basically show your intentions to like accomplish your goals, and then know that you're writing them as already happened. People think that NLP has to be with imitating or mirroring or some buju thing. That it's not like that. It's actually to keep a winner. And that book, that Secrets of the Millionaire Mindset, it's pretty much like an introduction for a lot of people that don't understand NLP. Programming your mind, because your mind creates your thoughts becomes habits, your habits becomes your execution and thoughts. So you want to make sure that you're always training and programming your mind to make sure you're executing and giving your results that you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I know some people, they look at it like almost like it's witchcraft when you're using human psychology, or you're saying things in a specific way to and like aid in a better result. But I mean, that's really all persuasion is. I mean, it's similar to ad copy, which is writing a specific way and kind of hitting the specific, trying to make people feel a certain way, and you're writing and you're choosing your words very carefully because that's the response you're trying to get from people. Mindset is, a big thing. One of the things I saw today that I had never really thought about was I think it was from the Solar Advice Group, and my buddy Joe, and you met Joe. He posted about how he believes that depression is rampant in the solar industry, and I hadn't ever really thought about it. I think depression is kind of rampant, like in our entire country. But it is interesting to think about, like, if it is something that is in the industry and what are the causes of that. But a lot of it has to do with mindset. Too many people are on the roller coaster, and they're having the really big ups and they're having the really big downs, and they're not really kind of working with the long term in mind. And I think that's true. And like personally, I've also been a person that I've dealt with depression. I've been on and off, especially when you're in like a scenario or market or what I do from a marketing perspective is I spend a lot of time in this office. I was a hermit before COVID. Now I'm like a superhero hermit. We don't go out all that much, and we don't really get involved. But it can be lonely, and if you're not practicing and training and kind of exercising your mind in a way, you're not going to be able to handle those ups and downs as well. What do you do to like keep your mind focused? I know you're going on a vacation here, I believe, to Mexico, but what kind of things do you do to make sure that you're always able to maintain that positive attitude?
Yeah. Just drink a lot of coffee and caffeine. No. One of the things that helps a lot is just keeping a routine. I mean, a routine has to be consistent of three important ingredients: exercising, meditation, and obviously knowledge, reading, knowledge, educating yourself, because we're humans, and humans are I mean, we're machines created to think and be able to reason and be able to do some. I mean, I just see myself like, man, we're created for like perfection. So we need to make sure we exercising that by putting it into action. And yes, so those three main ingredients are very important for your health. So yeah, so you have to make sure you're exercising. You have to make sure that you also feeding your brain with knowledge and also meditation. So that make sure that you are constantly taking care of your inner mind. So talking about that, this is important because a lot of people don't do that. They basically they get very absorbed on Instagram or Facebook or social media. They don't practice or exercise their brain, and it's very important in this critical times, because your brain is the way you're going to focus. And if you don't have no focus, or you're not going into a straight line of focus, I mean, you're going to be like a wave, just one side to another,
Well, it's a solar coaster, man. There you go. I like solar coaster better than I would like solarpreneur. Yeah. But it's just the sales jobs. It's any job in sales is similar, where you have ups and downs, and it's how you respond to those ups and downs and how it affects you that can make it so that you struggle, because if you're used to really, really high highs, and then the lows are going to hit you extra hard. I think you mentioned obviously health. One of the things maybe was diet. I mean, diet is huge. Maybe it's just because I just turned 31. I feel like I'm getting old, which I just found out you were older than me, and I always thought you were younger than me. So I'm glad that, I'm not like, now I feel weird being the young guy that's complaining about being old to an older guy. But regardless, one of the things I've noticed is how differently your diet affects you. Meaning, when I was young, like I'd go to the gym, work out, get my pre-workout, I'd get all excited, I'd get workout, and then I'd go to Taco Bell after and get like $30 worth of Taco Bell and just chow down. And then I'd go home and I'd be up all night. And but those types of things now, it's amazing how if I were to try to eat that much Taco Bell, I would be sick, and then I'd sleep for 2 days. Yeah. And then when I wake up, I'd probably sit on the toilet. But it is one of the things I think that is maybe typical with sales, is because you're in a hurry, you think it's not worth it to take the time and to worry about your health and wellness, and your health and your diet and your exercise routine. But it's amazing how much better that helps with your mentality and just your overall perception. And then once you start feeling better, everything seems to work better. A lot of people try to do it backwards. They think they feel bad because everything's failing, but typically everything starts to fail because you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So let's see. I was going to ask you about Grant Cardone, because I saw pictures on Facebook, and actually, one of the things I was trying to do earlier was like figure out if I could put the overlay of you, the picture of you and him, but I can't figure it out. So you've met him at least a couple times, right? So you've gone to his conventions and stuff. I want to hear about your experience with him and his program and that kind of stuff, and how you think it relates to solar and everything that you're doing on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Grant Cardone, he's such a great entrepreneur and sales professional. I've been following him for probably like 10 years already. I started listening to him, seeing his couple first YouTube videos before he even exploded on social media like he is now. He was just a car salesman, and I love the certainty that he was projecting. I love the wording, the word track he was using to basically persuade or show passion about his product and services, where the value was so high, the certainty was so high that it was hard for the homeowner or the person or the client to say no to it, something that it was just such a great value. Because when your certainty is high, no matter like that value and certainty beats any price anytime. So yeah, so I've been following him for quite a while. He is becoming a mentor for me. Yeah, I invested a lot of money on his workshops. I actually have my wife and I going to a workshop coming February 18 and 19 for people that is going to be in Miami. We're going to be over there with Grant Cardone sales execution workshop. We were just past this year, in about July, we went for like the real estate summit. We stayed for the sales summit. I mean, we scaling your business. So, I mean, everybody needs to get a mentor that it's been there. It has passed for multiple challenges and it's going certain direction, because we don't know what we don't know. So if we were trying to get from point B, which is from point A to point B over here.
I was going to say, you're starting off at the end there.
So basically, you need to know what route you're going to take, and nothing better than someone that already took that route and has been successful. All you have to do is copy. Simple as that. A lot of people are like, nah, you're such a copycat, or everything the same. And like, no, dude, just copy success. Mimic model success. Whatever you see do as far as that person is doing, go ahead and just mimic it, and you'll see like, whoa, I'm getting results. What's happening? Yeah, because you're literally taking action towards doing the things that other people are doing that's giving them results, right? So Grant Cardone has been a great mentor for me and a great teacher, and I believe has been for a lot of people, and it really been scaling my income ever since I apply his techniques. I apply his methodologies on how to basically polish your sales skills. Because sales, guys, for the people that are hearing us, it's a sport. It is a sport for me. You have to train every single day. You have to rehearse every single day. You have to polish your skills every single day. There's no way that you're going to be a great sales professional if you're just basically treating it as a habit or as a hobby. Sorry. Like if you want to get good at something, you have to train every single day, rehearse every single day, like a true professional. Like if you were playing a sport in a professional way that you're getting paid the big bucks, you're going to train every single day and you're going to show up for trainings no matter if you don't feel like it. So same thing with sales. So that's why the training of like this mentor Grant Cardone has been teaching me. So it's been great because I treat it as I don't treat it as a hobby. I treat it as my career, as my duty, my responsibility to become a sales professional, because that's the way I'm going to be able to deliver value. And remember, sales is serving. So I'm actually doing a missed service if I don't get to be a great sales professional like I aim to be.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if I would say sales is like a sport. I think if you treat it like professional athletes treat their sport, but the key word there is professional, right? So being a professional and figuring out how to be successful in this career rather than looking at something like it's just a job. And that kind of stuff is the difference between people that find success and have bigger years year over year, and people that kind of stay unhappy. I don't want to say unhappy, because some people are happy with that, but people that are trying to get better, and then they don't see their paychecks go up, and they're not making as many improvements. Really, a lot of times in my experience has been because they're not failing fast enough. And this is something that we talked about the other day, which was I forgot what the story was, but it had something to do with airplanes. But there was like a giant, like with competitions, there was these universities, and if someone else who's watching this knows, you probably put in the comments eventually. But I believe it was, I thought it was the Wright brothers, but it could have been something else. And what it was there's these universities and these programs that have millions and millions of dollars of funding. They have the best minds in the world, and they're like, okay, how do we create a vehicle that's going to be able to fly across this lake? And whatever team's the first one to fly across the lake wins this prize money of $50,000 or whatever. But back in 100 years ago, that was a crap ton of money. I mean, it's still a crap ton of money, but it was an extra crap ton back then. And but I remember the story was like they had all these teams, and these teams were basically like, they were planning, they were doing these blueprints, they were doing these designs, and they were creating these planes, and like it'd take them like 3 months to create one variation. They would launch it and it would fail. And then they'd go back to the drawing board and they would redesign everything and take another 3 months. And the guys that ended up winning it were basically the guys that are like, okay, what's like the minimum we can do to create something that might be able to fly? And they would on the first day, they like tried to fly and they failed. And then like 2 days later, they tried again with a little improvement and they failed. And then, but basically the thing was, by the time 6 months had gone by, they had failed like 40, 50 times. And they were the ones that ended up winning the competition. And I think a lot of that is I'm not saying you want to fail, but I'm saying you can't be afraid of failure, and you want to look for opportunities to decrease the learning curve as much as possible. And copying other people and learning from other people is definitely the way to do that. And because if anyone who's there and thinking that they're going to try to do it 100% on their own, ain't nobody got time for that. I can't believe how fast life is going by, and it's really interesting. I think people see that and they think, oh, you're just copying, you're learning from somebody, or why would you pay money to learn, like to hang out with that person, or like, but there's so much more that goes into it, and one single connection from one of those events or something like that could pay for that event and many more to come on top of all the knowledge that you learn. And that's kind of the difference. I think it's not quite as common to find like limited mindset in solar, because I think most sales professions, like everyone wants that, like once they've got a taste of money and financial freedom, they're chasing it, compared to some other jobs or industries where it's maybe more 9 to 5, like they are programmed, we've been programmed since we were kids to go work from 9 to 5 and then come back home and just be happy with average. And it's just very, very interesting. But like I said, solar, because there is great money, there's a lot of great minds and great people in here. Grant Cardone, though, is interesting because I like Grant Cardone. I just don't know if I love Grant Cardone. He one of the things, I love his books. I love his energy. I think he's a better marketer than he is a salesperson. But it's people like him are just a little bit. I mean, that's partly why he's so good, is because people have that response to him where some people love him, some people are unsure about him or question him, or he gives them those vibes, and that's kind of it's just very, very interesting. Because I saw the podcast about a year ago where he was on a podcast with Jordan Belfort, and for people who don't know, Jordan Belfort's the Wolf of Wall Street, who is another sales guy, but also maybe not somebody everybody should look up to or trust as much as they do. But regardless, it was more of I think maybe just caught Grant on a bad day, and their interaction, it kind of made me just question how it was interesting, because they have different approaches to sales. One is kind of like mindset and energy, and in a way, like getting to it as fast as possible, or figuring out how to get to it and then pushing. The other guy was more, his approach was more asking questions, kind of steering them and manipulating them a little bit, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's interesting that there's kind of different philosophies and strategies when it comes to sales. Speaking of different philosophies and strategies, let's talk about companies in the solar industry, because you are my buddy. You're here. You're in power. I think you're a little bit warmer to power than I am. So I'm in power. I always tell people, I think they're good at what they provide. But one of the things that you come to realize the longer you're in solar is a lot of the companies that are out there suck. And so tell me about your experience with power compared to working for a traditional installer.
Yeah. A lot of this get controversial here.
It's not controversial. It's just it is a polarizing topic, because I remember I posted about a week ago, and it was something like I was bashing somebody, and I was like, after working with that, like, power doesn't look as bad. And then, but the thing is people on both, like, I got people in my inbox that were like, dude, why you talk smack about power? And I was like, number one, it was a joke. Number two, I'm in power. And I think, to be honest, I think until like somebody proves me otherwise, I think most companies have issues and most of them suck. Absolutely. So I'm just kind of that, in the solar industry, it's they don't suck. They all have their issues. And I think one of the natures of it is promising and over-promising, and things end up out of their control that they can't account for. But my experience is that power is I like it. My thing about any type of company that I'm not a big fan of targeting everybody and just trying to recruit people that aren't in the solar space, that aren't salespeople to begin with, and trying to get them onto your team and train them into solars, because in my experience, that is where we get a lot of the uneducated reps that do crappy deals. So tell me about what your thoughts are on that.
Yes. So it all has to come to understand this, as far as like power and the platform and all that. You have to also go some steps back in the reference to where entrepreneurs are made of. When you are into becoming an entrepreneur, you're picking and choosing vehicles, and you're looking at ways to create income and create that financial, not only financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, inner freedom, all this type of freedoms that you want to accomplish as an entrepreneur, because that's the goal, freedom. So before I even joined Power, I was in network marketing, and I was in network. I'm still in network marketing. I love network marketing, and actually, I have to recommend a book for people that are like they're like those type of things that type of things don't talk about that. It's just like you don't talk about it in the dinner table, But one of the books that I really recommend for the ones that are hearing out there, it's the GoPro by Eric Ward. I don't know if you have read that book, Kyle, but talks about network marketing, and talks about a lot of people they fail because it's not about the company, guys. It's about taking responsibility. It's literally our job to make it work. A lot of people is, no, it's because that company did me wrong and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, we need to take responsibility. And it probably is because we didn't took enough action, or we didn't took massive amounts of action to really, really see the results. So talking now about power, a lot of people just think bad about network marketing, and sorry, this is type of recruiting and doing party places where people comes and like, hey, you're trying to sell them on the dream of you're going to be able to accomplish all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you also need to work hard, and you also need to play hard, and you also need to take massive amounts of action. And that's where like people don't understand. They think just because they pay already a membership fee, or that because they already got some skin in the game by paying their entrance and some products, they already, I'm winning. No, you have to still go out there. And then when they start seeing their family members, you start approaching a couple family members, and they start saying, no, you're going to fail on that. That's not going to work. I'm not going to buy from you. Or no. Then you start feeling insecure and saying, well, I'm not going to do this. You know what? You quit before you even start. So when I found power and what, like, Kyle, you actually introduced me to power. And well, actually, it was Devin. Devin introduced me to power. I went over. It's like, okay, it makes sense. Okay, and I end up joining, but never did
I
too
think
much at the beginning.
I think you're my only active recruit. I'm pretty
Really?
sure. I think you're my only active one, and because actually, because we'll talk. I want to dive more into what you were saying, but because I actually had people join like from like my links in my YouTube videos, like people that I didn't even notice until like yesterday. And like I went in there, I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I was like, "Oh, he joined. Oh, he joined 8 months ago." I was like, and that was a failure on my part because I wasn't doing the work that he should get. But that is this. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad. At first, I felt like you were going to go into like the stereotypical like MLM spiel. Like you did a little intro to it, but then you reverted away. I don't think anyone has. I don't know. I think I've always said in my whole phrase when it comes to power is I think power in the company and the model. I think it's a really great platform if you can. I think their issue has always been that it was a platform and they were attracting majority of MLM people rather than attracting solar people. And I think their reputation, or at least their adoption of their stuff, has kind of gone up. And I think they're not quite as I don't think they're quite as I don't want to say controversial because it's not controversial, but they're not as quite. I don't see as much negative stuff about them as I used to from like the traditional solar bro industry, and hopefully that's a good thing. I think it's personally my whole thing, and I think anyone who's been in solar for a while, one of the biggest things that people are worried about is like transparency, being able to see what's going on with their deals and when they're going to get paid, and then also the hopeful guarantee that if the deal gets installed, they're going to get the pay that they were supposed to. And that is two things that having a company and a dashboard and a platform like that really, really does help. But then also just making it easy so that you can get those overrides once again without having to argue or fight or go and talk to, because that's a lot of the issues in solar. Majority of issues in solar are probably just from lack of transparency and not enough communication. And so the only way we can get around that is automating more and providing more transparency. And obviously Power has made their attempt at that. And I think it's, like I said, I've never had a problem with Power. I just think it's funny. I think it's always funny. But then again, like I said, most solar companies stink. And I mean, it's not just solar, it's sales, right? Working at a gym was awful. You sold your ass off. You had to hit these quotas by the first of the month, every single month. And then you get like a little pizza party and then, back to work. Oh, wait, but I already took my 5 clients and got them to re-sign early.
Hey, and talk about no vacations, man. I mean, like literally, I think in the industry of fitness, I took a 4-day vacation and they wanted me back. And that 4-day vacation was like the day of my wedding. It's like crazy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like, no, there's no freedom on it. So the reality is that freedom is going to come. And again, guys, that if you guys read that book of Millionaire Mindset, I cannot stress enough how he says, like, go get a commission only based career. No, and guys, my own mom was like, you have to get a good job where they pay you well, where they basically you have some source of security. You have to make sure that you have some benefits as well, because get out of that mindset. Like, erase that, because the reality is there's no security on a salary. That company needs to perform, it needs to produce in order for you, the 9 to 5, get paid. So make sure that you go into a contractor position, and if you are already in a salary, talk to your boss and say, hey, what in my performance base will be. I want to be a contractor with you, so you pay me on commission and results rather than the hourly and the salary. because the reality is that's the best way to go, and that's where you're going to create the wealth. And again,
I mean, it does depend on the person, because
yeah,
there's people that are completely happy with that security and they don't want to like dive into the deep end. Like I tell people is like, one of the things about switching to sales or commission only or starting your own business or quitting a job to start your own business is your back's up against the wall. And when your back's up against the wall, you'll really kind of either what is it, sink or swim. I can't believe it. I had to think about that. You'll either sink or swim, where like you'll get to a point where it's like fight or flight. Your brain is going, your mind is going, you're alert, you're working hard, and your back's against that wall, and you know that there really is no other choice to work. Some people thrive in that, and some people would crumble, and they're not made for that. So definitely, yeah. I mean, I think it's a big step for someone to take when they're looking to do that. And another book, The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, talks about that. That's more about the kind of, it talks a lot about how the biggest thing to find success is divorcing yourself from time, right? So not finding a job where you're able to increase your worth and you're going to be able to grow things. Right now, the whole world is telling everybody that your job is to stay in the slow lane, go to work every day, no matter what, you're going to save up. After 40, 50 years, you're going to be able to retire and be comfortable, which is like, where's my comfortable? Because you're not really, because I mean, most people that retire are basically going to live, and they're going to be living on bare minimums for the rest of life. And that's kind of, if that is what you're okay with and you're looking for, then that might make sense. But a lot of people want the opportunity to work and to hopefully retire earlier so we can do more stuff. Like one of the things, I found interesting is I started golfing like 2 months ago, and I don't think I ever really wanted to retire as much as I do now, because I just want to play golf more. Like I want to like have a house on a golf course and just be able to like, yeah, I'm going to go golfing right now. And that's the family, the kids are great too. Great. My wife is not going to watch this. But I mean, it's just whatever it is that, like, if you are happy with that and you're happy working until 65 and retiring and having a pension and all that kind of stuff, and you're not going to get that from a sales job. But if you want to work and learn and develop and get better, then hopefully you can work your ass off for 10, 20 years and you're going to be able to retire earlier and hopefully with more money. So that's what solar does. And that's what the internet helps us do. And that's what all this kind of stuff is about. So I appreciate, I like that you, are you reading any books right now?
Yeah, I'm actually reading, I'm reading 2 books. One is The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, which is...
Okay, I've read that. Yeah, and I also read GoPro, by the way. So I'm on, what else are you reading?
The other one that I'm reading, this is, hey guys, because once you become
no context. What are you reading? Let me hear it. Come on, throw it out there.
It's the Tax-Free Wealth. It was recommended by one of my friends, Joseph. Hopefully he's listening.
Well, that's how you know you're finding success in solar, is when you're trying to evade taxes.
Yeah, the legal way. So we want to make sure that everything's the legal way. So it talks about that Tax-Free Wealth. It's by the Robert
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Robert Kiyosaki. So yeah,
sorry, Robert.
because you want to make sure that you know about your taxes. I mean, one of the things that, and people don't realize this, is that 4 months out of your total year of hard earning income, you go and just pay taxes. You're paying taxes 4 months out of an entire year. So it's crazy when you think about it. Oh, I'm going to work for my family. Yeah, man, you're going to work for the government, bro, because you're going to pay all that money to the government, the IR and the S.
It's taxes from obviously I pay taxes when I make money, but one of the things that you realize taxes hurt a lot more is when you're when I've been like investing in trading cryptocurrencies, and I think I talked to you about this like 9 months ago. And but then like every time you have like a potential big gain, it's like, oh, okay. So with crypto, if it's a short-term trade, like if I made 100 grand in a month, which this is hypothetical, I did not make 100 grand this month, but it was like, yeah, like 33% or something is a short-term, because they treat it like capital gains, the short-term capital gains tax, and it just makes it like, oh man, that just, I don't even want to like withdraw. It hurts me to think about, like, if I have to withdraw 20,000 and then I have to give 6,000 to the government. Oh, that's awful. Because I'm like
It hurts.
I have nothing wrong with well, I don't want to say I have nothing wrong with taxes, but I'm a conservative. I think a lot of the issues in this country aren't because we're not paying enough in taxes. I think we need to talk more about what are we spending so much damn money on. And that's one of the things that cracks me up with like the tweet I just saw with Elizabeth Warren was like attacking Elon Musk or something. And she's like, oh yeah, if Elon Musk was just paying his fair share of taxes. And then Elon Musk tweets is like, oh yeah, well this year I'm actually going to pay more than any American in history. And then he said, and don't spend it too fast. Oh wait, you already did, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's number one, to be able to like lambast a senator on Twitter is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taxes, man. It's definitely something you got to know. Finances and all that stuff, and a lot of people don't plan for that, and then at the end of the year they're kind of screwed, especially because most of us are contractors. We don't even have the option to pull it out of our paycheck, even though that's what's smart. And then if you're only thinking about it when you're filing those taxes in March or April, then it's not good, especially if you're making a lot of money, because the more money you make, the more you have to pay.
Yeah.
So
that's why I started learning about that book, and there's some strategies that I recommend you guys read that book, how to create wealth with your taxes, pretty much. But yeah, that's what we're doing.
Talk to a pro, man. Like I tell people, I mean, I know a lot of people use like TurboTax and those things, and that's obviously a great tool, but it's not, especially if you're talking about like you make over 100 grand a year and you're paying tens of thousands of dollars into taxes. If a professional and someone that knows legit what they're doing can save you thousands of dollars, then there's no reason not to do it.
Literally, it pays. Your accountant, your CPA, who's taking care of you. It pays by itself with your savings that you're gonna get by taking care of that.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about, oh, did I fill that form out right? Oh no, am I going to go to jail? I mean, not obviously I don't think most of us think about that kind of stuff, but that's always what I think about, is like when I used to do TurboTax, and it was like, oh, fill in this box with this amount, and I'd be sitting there like, I think this is the amount right here. I think it's zero, right? But zero, and like send it away. And if they ever asked me, it'd be like, yeah, I don't know. So it's just easier to get things off your plate. Let people do what they're best at. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my whole philosophy. I'm a marketing guy. I want to be a marketing guy. I want to create content. I want to generate leads. I want to help people, and then I want other people to do the sales stuff, because I could sell. Like I'm not a terrible salesperson, but I'm not great. I don't really want to be great, but it's more about just figuring out what you're best at, and then partnering and working with people that complement you well. So there you have it, man. I think we're already at 53 minutes. So you were talking about like 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and you thought
I was gonna be short and sweet, but I love talking about all of this. I mean, it's just great topics and stuff. But yeah, you're right.
One last question, actually, because I wanted to ask you this, and I don't know, but I wanted to hear what is the best part and the worst part of having a wife who is an entrepreneur as well?
Dude, that's a good one. I didn't prepare for that.
I know. So here, I'll give you a little time to think. I'll give you a little time to think, because the reason I asked that question is because my wife is not like, my wife would be me being an entrepreneur, running my own business, making money that goes up one month and down the next month. It is not like she's she's okay with it because she trusts me, but it's not the way she would never be able to do that. And so that's what I was curious about, because I think that would be such a cool partnership to have, which is she is interested in all the same things you are, and together you guys really are a team for your business. But I do want to hear what is the best part and the worst part about it. And don't give us a fluffy like the worst part is that I get to talk to her so much because I just love talking to her and it's easy to get off track. None of those fluffy answers. I want a real one.
Of course. So actually, guys, whoever is who's hearing
the dozens.
So basically, before we actually jump into, we failed miserably. Like literally, she had to go back to work. She hated it. Had to go back to what she was comfortable doing to just get the ends meet. And basically, I was able to stay in track with solar. It's like she even like told me like with the finger like this: if you don't make this happen, you have to go back to get a job. And I was like, fly or die.
Doing an impression with a voice for your wife is a very ballsy move. I'll just say that. But go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, I went ahead and just stayed the course and just stay consistent. Results started coming, and I was able to I will say retire her on the aspect that I was able to take care of the majority of the load with the bills, the cars, the car notes, insurances, the leases, whatever I have as far as bills, I'm taking the load. So where she was able to transition on something that I knew it was going to be a good vehicle for her. And it's again, partnering up, teaming up, developing, because guys, it's all about multiplying yourself. Like you say it right now, Kyle, you said like, hey, I'm good at marketing. I'm good on advertising, creating ads, copyrights, getting people to fill up a form on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. But I'm not great on that. Like, dude, I had trouble sending you a freaking format today. I was like, oh, how do I do that? But my skills is about sales, persuasion, negotiation, people skills, and building teams. So multiplying myself is leveraging some other people's time, because at the end of the day, you only have 24 hours throughout the day. You don't have no more time. But how you going to create more is if I can multiply myself 10, 20 times, because every single one of those people will have another 24 hours. So my wife, it's just a multiply. I was able to like duplicate myself on her. We're like, hey, you need to be in a right vehicle that's going to be big margins, high commission. What she did, she joined real estate. So she's in real estate now. She's doing something that actually works hand in hand with solar, because you need a home to be able to have solar, because you have to be the homeowner, right? So it's like, hey,
and we need more real estate agents that understand solar too.
Exactly.
So that they're over there and they're not looking at it as a hindrance when you go to closing costs and selling the house. And because when a real estate agent says something like that in passing, it sticks with the homeowner. And a lot of times they say that just because they're trying to make their process as simple as possible. Yeah. I think real estate's probably, I would say maybe number one, maybe number two to roofing as far as industries like most crossover. Yeah. But that's cool, man. I'm glad. Yeah. Every time, because I've seen you guys, I think you go to the conventions and like the learning and stuff. Yeah. All you guys go to all that stuff together, and it's super cool. Because one of the things we talked about earlier was depression, and obviously being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. A lot of times, especially when you're small, is very it's very lonely. It's very it's difficult when things get tough. It'd be nice to have someone over there that's going to slap you or whatever. Yeah. But you didn't really say what was worse about, but I'll give you a pass, I think, because you imitated her and you gave her kind of a little shrill voice. Just kidding. I don't think I've never met her, so I don't want her to hear that.
But the best part was just duplicating myself, be able to have time with her. Like we wake up every morning.
But also, it's another person that you can trust.
Yeah.
And in this industry, partnering and finding people that you can trust isn't always as easy as it should be. So the more people that you trust and you enjoy working with and that you surround yourself with, I think that's kind of the formula for success. And that's what I'm definitely looking to do into 2022. Can you believe it's 2022?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Dude, I can't. I mean, COVID, I feel like it's just put everything in fast forward.
This happened 6 months ago, right?
Well, what is it now? It's March. This is December. So it's 20 months ago. That's nuts to me. And obviously the industry has changed a lot, and there's it's just crazy how time flies. So I'm going to hand it over to you. Just what I would like you to do is give anyone who's watching how, if they wanted to reach out, contact you, learn about, talk to you, or possibly work with you in the future, what is the best way for them to reach out to you? And then if you had to give one piece of advice for everyone watching moving into 2022, what would it be?
Okay. So if you want to reach out to me, just, hey, raise your hand on Facebook, add me, DM me, like a really nice personalized DM me, because a lot of people just send me a DM me and like, it's just, hey, and they try to just sell you something. And, hey, you're talking to a sales professional, right? So you really want to make sure you're creating that relationship. But yeah, Facebook, DM me, or send me an email. My email is super easy, luis@luisfloresbono.com, luis@luisfloresbono.com. And basically, you can even send me you can even go to my website, luis.floresbono.com. That's my website. And I mean, we're energysolarbrokers.com as well. Facebook is the best way. LinkedIn. I mean, I have LinkedIn. I have Instagram. Everything is Luis Flores Bono. I'm a business man. And then second of all was what was the second? What was the second part, Kyle? You're laughing?
Oh boy, that was something. Give the last thing was one piece of advice. Leave everybody with going to 20. If you can only say one thing to people as they move into 2022, what would that piece of advice be?
Take massive amounts of action. Or should I say take actions?
Oh, massive amounts of action is fine. Take massive amounts of actions was his answer. No, I apologize. I was laughing. What was it that you said that made me laugh? When I was off the screen, but I was cracking up when you said, when they message you and you reply, I'm a sales professional. And I was just sitting there because it's just like, it's funny, but those cold messages is, I don't know. Have you ever replied to those people and like messed with them?
I mean, I just don't. It has to be a good hook. I mean,
the best is when people reach out to me and they're like, hey, do you need solar leads? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I just like see what it is, because it's just always fun. But that's the thing I do. One of the things I recommend to people is, if they were really good at marketing, would they be getting clients from spamming people in their Facebook inbox? So think about that, because that's not really marketing. That's something that, if you're claiming to be a marketing person, I would think that you would have marketing for yourself that can generate leads either through paid ads, through content, through word of mouth, whatever. But it's just always interesting to me, the people that results of that. And I know a lot of people that have done it and had a ton of success cold messaging people.
Yeah.
They probably pissed off like 99 times more people. But if it's a numbers game and you put in the work, you're able to scale it. And like, rather than having 100 different Luises, you can have a robot send out 100 messages. And
that's true.
But I wouldn't personally recommend it. It depends on the industry. It depends on the product too. And you better have a very, very good message that's going to get some attention if you're going to have any success. So anyways, thanks to the dozens of you that have watched. Thanks to Luis for joining. I had fun, man. You're a ball of energy, and I aspire to be as positive and optimistic and energetic as you. And I know that you're going to crush not only the rest of this year, but next year as well. And
Thank you, my man.
thanks again, man. All right, everybody, take care. And until next time. Oh, I was actually going to say, we are doing another one of these tomorrow with Josiah Atkins early in the afternoon. So I'm going to post
bacon. I smell bacon.
Josiah. Yeah, Josiah's another guy that I talked to him once, and it was like, I don't know, I felt like I had a lot of fun, but the conversation was just like all over the place. And hopefully we'll be better at providing value and direction. But the main thing is I'm getting back to creating these, providing answering questions. So introducing more and more people, and we'll just see where it goes, man. So have a wonderful vacation, and we'll talk again soon.
Of course. Thanks.